Welcome back. New game, new rules, new style. Okay, this is going to be a preview of the next few videos coming out, and it will conclude the following. This episode will be Clueless Part 1. Part 2 will go through my picture file, detailing a little bit more what's going on our planet, etc., etc. And I'll describe my picture file, which is available on a Google Drive, Cloud, whatever the heck. I'll list a link, and you can go there, and there's a little booksy poo with some text in it that describes everything that's going on from a rash point of view to common sense. And what I'm going to explain is my style. I approach this scientifically 50%, spiritually 50%. I didn't point up in the sky at a UFO, take a long shot guess, be way in the heck off, and then try to make sense of it and backtrack. I went from the timeline forward. And I'm gifted. And I met, you could say, a few monks along the way. And my gift has matured. So, don't be jealous, it sucks. Somebody thought it might be cool to fly an angel. I'll let you know that you're headless, armless, legless, and you're blind. So it may not be as it seems. One episode coming up is important, is going to be perception, where I kind of play a trick on you and then flip it around so you can understand where you're at in life. And I'll address independent people, different groups of people that I've never addressed because I'm either uncomfortable or lack of knowledge. And I'm going to take a stab at that. I'm going to explain CE5 in detail. And I'll tell you right now, if you're listening and you say, hey, Mike's holding out, he's holding out pictures, I'm not. I gave you way more than you could ever comprehend in a 256K file. And then I gave you more and more and more. So I've satisfied my requirements. And the majority of my pictures are hand-picked. I'm going to go through a handful of them and explain. You want to interview me and get the rest of them, it's up to you. Bring your game. It better be strong. I'll hang up. So, future topics are going to be important. World peace, I'll solve it in 20 minutes. I'll give a flow chart, schematic, probable thesis based on an advanced society that succeeded and we failed. And I'll do that in less than 20 minutes, fire off a second video behind it, explaining little scenarios on how to solve it. In 20 minutes, I'll solve racism, equality, police shooting people, getting shot at, etc., etc. 20 minutes flat is my formula. Take me obviously longer than an hour to perfect it, but I'll explain some little idiosyncrasies in it. And in this episode, I want to discuss, I use the word snowflake in my book a lot, and that's because that's what I was when I found out that a little green angel bit me. And I want to, in the next part 2, I'll go through some pictures and I'll represent angels better. I made a mistake. When I showed the picture of the fallen angel, everyone kind of thinks that's the only angel that exists, and I'm going to clear that up really whiskety-whisk in the next part 2 of this through my picture roll and show you what Arcellas really are all about. I like that name. They seem to be cool with it. It's representative of something. And let's see, don't dox God. I'll go into some religion. I can actually do that at this point because I'm sure some people are concerned and I don't want to create a panic. And let's see, cats are cool. This is sponsored by Kitty. Beaker Industries software and hardware components are all sponsored by Kitty Anonymous. And Mr. Kitty is probably disappeared there. He's got a string to bail out of his little nest up there, and he seems to have hung the little animal that I gave him, just in case you're curious. On the other side of that, the noose is around his neck, so he may not like that animal or toy. And let's see. Being gifted sucks. Realizing all this data sucks. I don't think the majority of UFO people have a clue, unfortunately. If you're pointing in the sky and talking about either A, advanced technology alone, or B, spirituality and God alone, I think you need to be 50-50. And if you read my little stupid book and look at my videos and the disclosures, I didn't really do a disclosure per se that you thought I did. I did it my style, 50-50, which is correct. I represented both technologies equally, God and the aliens. I showed you all the pics, including a picture of a spirit. My gosh. Who shows you a picture of a spirit or a soul? Mike Kelty. Powered by Atari. Sponsored by Atari. If I get a book deal, I'm buying Atari, by the way. Don't you dare raise your stocks, and your company sucks right now. I'll redo it. Beaker Industries has a few advantages with alien technology. And you'll be able to slam the door like an Atari 400 and throw it at a wall and it won't break. So, my 16-bit club has been quiet, and I have created a panic per se where I gave out a lot of data and people seem to be locked a little bit. So let's talk about perception change. It's one of my tricks, and what I mean by that is you need to accept the data. In other words, read it. You don't have to believe it. Then you have to have a perception change. Then you got to sit on it, give it some time, and then you get a new perception change, a new reality. And it takes time on some things. Some things you'll get locked on. Don't worry about it. Blow past it. Save it for later. Stick to the meat of it. There's so many little idiosyncrasies here, it's ridiculous. Even for a smart guy like me, I'm confused because there's so many angles to this. It's on the Egyptian walls. It's flying above us. We happen to have a flying UFO too. And there's esoteric planes, and spirits, and ghosts are real. There's a lot to swallow. And, interestingly enough, I was born in a generation, in other words, we're all alive, where we get to see this. So that's kind of cool. A little frightening, but hey, bad Irish luck can be good Irish luck. So, there was a meteor strike in Turkey, and I believe symbolically it represented the American troops pulling out. I'm sure some Marcella's got some good shots, some pictures. Not a good thing. Things are changing on the planet rapidly, and if we don't start applying world peace, which is my goal, one love, whatever you want to call it, where we just all get along, there's going to be no chance of survival. That's everybody, every group, from right extremists to monks to the average Joe to you, to me, everybody. So, I got a plan. I can solve all that real easy. That was the beginning of the data that I received. CE5 is coming. The only way I can do this to teach everybody is, look, I'd have to sit somebody down for, God, hours a day, which is impossible. And it would take weeks to months to comprehend the basic structures, ideas, formulas. And then it's like a 1% shot. And I will have wasted a bunch of time and energy, and I'm not being rude, to solve one person for 1% chance. Not really worth it. Okay, I do formulas. So if I do a book, which I've already done, meaning that original text translates into a corrected version, which will take me a long time to do because there's a heck of a lot of errors, and if you're familiar with Word software, it's a nightmare. And I did it on purpose, and I'm going to fix it character by character, not word by word. That'll be part 2, and a book will include the original sloppy job Picasso, As a preamble, the next will be the corrected and then 8 new chapters based on those 2 that will all coincide, use the same words, and theoretically if you put it into a 8-layer map, that first book theoretically will teach you how to hack the matrix or the maze or whatever you want to call it, getting into God's arms to get a hug with him and a kitty cat. So I can accomplish that planetarily wide by doing a book deal. Nobody wants it for free, no problem. Plus I get to go worldwide. Plus maybe I get a house with a girl that thinks my money's attractive, and life is good. But I'm not going to stop there. I have a business plan. I plan on building a Roadster convertible, at least as a demo model, that surpasses all fuel economy, electric standards known to man, and a lot of other things. One of my videos will include a business plan which will outline some ideas, some of my inventions, some concepts, purely hypothetical. And I don't know, it's the first time I'm free-flowing. I tried viciously for a long time to get my headphones to work as a monitor with this, and I didn't like it, and then it blew up on me with the drivers failing, and I really hate OBS. It's a pain in the butt when you're dealing with all this stuff, and it's not OBS's fault. It's probably mine. A lot of input goes into this, and I'm just doing the basics. Anyway, I found some other software there. I've been learning Final Draft 12. I've been working with translation software. I can speak any language in a heartbeat because of software. So, and by the way, United States and Canada, you're so far behind a lot of the planet. You're like third world country, just so you know. I don't care if you speak up, but I just wanted to let you know. And keep pointing up in the stars and saying that it's a metaphysical being, water droplet, alien coming to rape you, whatever you want to say. I could care less. Just don't forget, you might have to answer that to God, personally. And, quite frankly, if I had the job where I could put you together, I would actually send you to him, embarrass you, and boot you straight to hell for doing half the crap that you're doing. I do like a UFO dude out of Canada. I've mentioned him before. He doesn't do any of that. He's really exciting. He wears a cap. He reminds me of a New Yorker. So there are good people out there in the UFO community. And I actually saw somebody associated with MUFON who made sense. So lo and behold, crazy stuff happens. And I forget the guy's name. I always screw it up. Micha Kukua. I believe he's Japanese, I want to guess. Maybe something else. Wonderful guy, extremely intelligent. He's the guy who always mentions the Kardashev scale. And you really need to look at the Kardashev scale and not think sci-fi, and understand that if our civilization at our age advanced 3,000 years ahead of us, that dang near anything is probable, including everything, single thing you see in a sci-fi movie and more, because your mind isn't even open yet. Being able to fly and cruise the planets, anything you can think of is actually available to you if you do the right thing on this planet. Yeah, and that's not an easy thing to swallow, because I've committed sins through life. I've never killed anyone or done anything too incredibly stupid, but I've done a lot of stupid stuff. My parents will probably never forget. And speaking of which, let's go religious for a second. And I'm not real good at this. I'm not a good Bible thumper. And I'm realizing that I'm talking somewhere else, and my microphone should probably be placed in front of me. And it goes like this. The signs of the end of times. We've got some time, and there's some good news. There's a 1,000-year reprieve after this little battle goes down, and hopefully it's small, like the 1561 Nuremberg event. Maybe it looks like that. Maybe it looks like King Kong versus a dinosaur movie where cities get thrashed. Who knows? Good news, it should go down in the Middle East. So I'm a little ways away in Colorado, which works for me. I got the Rocky Mountains to use as a thermodynamic vent to push all that nuclear waste up in the air and not directly into my nostrils. And this is the end of the sign of times according to the Bible and other religions, but based on Christianity, so I hit the majority of people, and I found some good Christians, believe it or not. I didn't agree with the part where you jam down people's throats, accept Jesus Christ, or you're going straight to hell. But there was a lot more to that story, quite a few more paragraphs where the devil gets a chain around his neck, and he's beyond a hero, and he did die for your sins. And when I heard that, man, I was like jumping on board. But the way it was presented made me repel, so I wanted to make a correction there. Maybe the marketing strategy of Christianity could include those few paragraphs. I thought they were critical, and it was merely an explanation instead of going for the jugular with 2 sentences. And here's the signs in the skies at the end of times when what's happening is happening. And signs in the skies might mean that a bunch of people are getting Polaroid pictures of UFOs. Or if they read the Bible, they would have realized that maybe with all these wars, the Middle East is out of control with hatred and sin. The entire planet, by the way, but I was picking on that because of the military troops withdrawing and the devil possibly living there. And on the UFO side, it was really interesting to see religious stuff, but I know they're MUFON, and hopefully I never DDoS them. But they actually had an interesting article on Turkey. If I remember, I'll put it in the book links, but it just was some interesting cave carvings, and you can look it up in Turkey, of the devil, the opposite of the Egyptian pyramids, in hieroglyph fashion. Very similar characters, except they're holding these really ugly clubs, and they look a little angry, but they're actually greeting other people, acting civilized, doing the M3+1 formula, believe it or not. And I don't know, it's a winner. What's the M3+1? It's in the book. Metric 3+1, and I'll use that formula to solve world peace. So, signs in the skies, earthquakes. Yeah, we're fracking and we're causing earthquakes from Kansas to God knows where. That could be a small sign, plus weather changes, earthquakes, you know how they're all involved with each other. And we're now poking angels in Saudi Arabia, I believe, somewhere there. My favorite base jumping place anyway. Dubai. And you can't base jump in Dubai, by the way. But they have a great plane service. And there's a video on it. I'll put my like on it. And if you got Turkey, the home of the devil, you got Dubai shocking angels to make rain. I don't know, there could be an issue there. And you got mold or mildew or something growing on 19,000 plus satellites that are changing orbit. That could be an issue. So there's a lot going on. Plus all the other stuff you see on TV. COVID will be wiped out by INA-051 or INA-X. I keep saying that. By the way, I just told my doctor I have to do these like mandatory meetings with them when they re-up my medication, and it's kind of boring because we got each other memorized as far as diagnosis, so we try to find something else to talk about, and we both like medical stuff. So I told him that drug, and he actually wrote it down. So, and his question was, why have I never heard of this? And I asked him if he ever heard it from Dr. Fauci, and he says, not to my recollection. So, what do you know? I even told my doctor about this stuff. Let's see. Days of Noah. Days of violence. God said he had it with mankind, and some floods happened. Could be some key words. Hope you can swim. Can't tell you that one. The end is real. It happens in the Valley of Armageddon. And if successful, There will be another 1,000 years, if unsuccessful. Could be a bad 1,000 years. Hopefully it's good. The name of the valley is the Megiddo would be the spelling phonetically. Metitko Valley. And theoretically, according to the Bible, we could have 1,000 years of bliss. Can't go there. Chain around the neck. Let's see. Wrap it around his neck. Dip him in the pit. Jesus comes back. Rules for 1,000 years. Life is good. Some references would be the Book of Revelations. Would probably be a good start. Wow. I doxed the Fountain of Youth, you would call it. And it's written on my wall. I got the location. You don't get that.